What's going on, guys? So today we're going to be talking about, I think, 5 things that you should not do to your vehicle. There's actually a lot more than 5, but we're just going to go over 5 today. If y'all like this video, we might do 5 more, but I think I'm definitely going to have to start it off with body lifts. So they're not as popular anymore, at least not in newer vehicles. I used to see a lot of them in like the older Chevrolets and stuff, and you know, to me, it just kills the look, man. I mean, I understand, you know, not everybody can drop $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 on a 6-inch lift or something like that. So a lot of people go the cheaper route and they do a leveling kit or crank the torsion bars, and then they still can't fit the size tires they're wanting. So the cheapest next thing is to do a body lift. Well, if you're not familiar with a body lift, it's literally lifting the body off of the frame and putting spacers in between where it mounts from the frame to the body. And you know, even if you say that, hearing that and saying that out loud, you just know that cannot be a good idea. And the issue I have with it is, well, the 2 downsides to it is, one, your frame starts hanging down real low, and I cannot stand that. I saw a Blazer the other day that had one like a big, like it had to have been like several inches of body lift, and you could almost see the entire frame under this thing. So there's that. And then in the back, the wheel wells, front and the back, you can literally, unless you put panels up, you can see clean through the truck. And I mean, like, put your fist in between the frame and the bed or the body, and you know, there is like the little flaps you can put up, stuff that block that make it look a lot better. You can put steps on the side to kind of block the view of the frame and stuff. But to me, body lifts, just don't do it. Alright, so number 2, I guess, is going to be doing a drop bracket lift on a 2-wheel drive truck. And I do actually follow 1 or 2 guys on Instagram that have this done. Mainly because I was following them before they had this truck. They had something else, or they were, you know, didn't have that set up on the truck. But essentially, a drop bracket lift is dropping the front cradle, I guess you would call it the cradle, where the 4-wheel drive system goes. Because when you do a 6-inch lift or a bigger lift, your drive shafts and everything are just going to be way out of whack, and there's no way that they can fit. So in order to do that, typically you have to chop the cross member, and then the drop bracket lift is actually its full assembly, which makes up where you had to cut, and then it lowers the 4-wheel drive system down so it's level with you know, the rest of the components, so everything, you know, stays happy and doesn't tear itself up. Well, 2-wheel drives have an absolute awesome option. If you want to lift your 2-wheel drive, they make spindle lifts, and spindle lifts look amazing. Tacomas, Titans. I haven't seen too many F-150s or Dodges or Chevrolets, but especially the Titans and the Tacomas. You can put like a 4-inch spindle lift on one, and it looks like a 6-7-8 inch drop bracket lift. You got huge ground clearance up front because you're not, you know, dropping anything down below where it is stock. You just got those spindles, so you're raising it up huge, and it looks awesome. So it really doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I know if you want to go bigger, like a 12-inch, you can't do just a spindle lift. I don't think you'd have to do the drop bracket, but it just looks really goofy to me when you got this big hunk of metal where your 4-wheel drive would be, and it's just empty. You just see clean through it, and that's just me personally. I just don't like it, especially when the spindle lift does look so good. I mean, you have so much more ground clearance. It looks so much bigger because you have so much more ground clearance, and personally, I would 100% rock like a Titan or something with a spindle lift 2-wheel drive, no problem. Alright, so hopefully y'all can hear me, and this is a good one to point out right now, since you can probably, I'm sure, hear the exhaust in the background. It absolutely drives me nuts, people's exhaust setup. So I'm sure some of y'all in the comments will roast me for how loud mine is, or clapped out, or whatever it is, but I'm actually talking about the exhaust pipe and tip. So when you go to the exhaust shop, I mean, personally, I have a good mindset of what I want when I go there, because they can do basically anything as long as there's room, and you go to a shop that, you know, wants to get you what you want. You just go in there and like, hey, I'm trying to do this with it, I want the tips here, blah blah blah, and that's how I want it to go. And as far as anything I've ever done, no problem. Okay, we're gonna do what you want to do. And so it doesn't really make sense. I guess some people just go in the exhaust shop and they're like, hey, I want an exhaust, slap it on there. But it drives me nuts when people, I see them in the trucks and their exhaust pipe is like, the pipe itself was too low, but then they wanted the tips close to the bumper. So then they have the exhaust tips pointed upwards towards the exhaust. So they're like, exhaust pipe down, tips going up to get close to the bumper, so there's not a big gap. And man, that looks so horrible. I personally like the tips hit away. On my old F-150, I had them coming out at the corners. There's 1.5 million different ways to make your exhaust tips look absolutely awesome coming out the back or the sides or anywhere. But when you got that exhaust pipe hanging low and you're gonna have to start like angling the exhaust tip up in order to counteract that just, man, it looks horrible and it really drives me crazy. So some of the exhaust places out there, I don't know if they just don't care about their work, or that's what maybe these people have said they wanted, but not me. All right, so the next one you can probably you've probably seen running around since light bars have become popular. I like light bars. Some trucks look freaking awesome with them, you know, several of them, doesn't matter. But when people go putting them in places they ain't supposed to go, okay, they make the brackets for the roof, they make brackets where you can put them in the grill, on your bumper, on the back, you know, and you can make certain brackets and whatnot, but dude, don't go just drilling them into anything. There's a local guy, and I see him running around. There's actually a couple of them, and they have these light bars drilled into their hoods, like drilled into their hoods. And I mean, I don't care if it's not a brand new truck or it's you know, old beater or something, but there's just no way that I'm taking a light bar and I'm drilling it into the body of my vehicle. Like, no. And I know some of these guys have got them drilled into their roof as well, because they're not wide enough and there's no brackets. So, like, you're literally drilling into your roof. I mean, okay, you're gonna like, what, putty it up so it doesn't leak or something? Like, dude, just, if there's not a bracket made for it or you can't make one for it, don't just drill it in, please. So the final thing, which is pretty weird, it's kind of two sides, it's going to be tow mirrors on stuff that didn't have tow mirrors. And not necessarily like putting them, you know, the 2500s on your 1500s. Some vehicles can pull that off. I will admit they look pretty good on some. I personally like the look of a small mirror on vehicles, so I'm not one to do that. But what really bothers me is when people put different brand tow mirrors on stuff, like ones that don't even remotely fit. Like, I know Dodge mirrors can go on Tacomas. I've seen that plenty of times. But I'm talking about like people that like got 90 model Chevrolets and they just somehow rig up like the new gen ones on there, and like the triangle where it meets at the door and the window is like not even remotely close whatsoever. And I just do not, I mean, that, I'm sure everyone is not like me, but that would bug the ever-loving crap out of me if I'm, you know, got these big gawky mirrors and they're like, don't even remotely fit correctly. I just think that would be so insane. I just, no way I can handle it. But that's pretty much going to sum it up. Those are 5 things that came right to my mind that really bother me or bug me whenever I see it. They don't really bother me, but I just think they're could be done better or just pointless. So y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. Once again, like I said, if you've got one of those mentioned done to your truck, don't take it personally. This is just a video, you know, it's just my personal preference. And, you know, I'm sure if you do have it done, you probably love it, and that's perfectly fine. It's your vehicle, whatever. But, yeah, so that's gonna about do it. Like I said, drop a comment down below, any other, things that bug you when you see it done in trucks. And like I said, you can roast my truck if you don't like it squatted or loud or whatever. I don't really care. It's just everybody's personal preference. So definitely leave a like, subscribe for more. I'll see y'all in the next one.